Please rise if you wish for the invocation and the pledge. Dear God, as we enter this hurricane season that all the predictions say will be far busier than the other years, we ask that you make those predictions false. And should a storm approach our city, help us to protect our residents and our businesses. As we consider the matters before us this evening, grant us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that we may make the best decisions for those who have chosen us to represent them. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is the regular City Council meeting for the month of June. City Clerk, would you do the roll call, please?
Councilmember Sell.
Here.
Councilmember Papalardo.
Here.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Here.
Mayor Chazet.
Here.
Vice Mayor Butlin.
Here. Being the first month, there is time for any public participation for items not on the agenda. And I see we have one participant. Would Marianne Sigurdsson please come up to the mic?
I have some copies for you guys if you want them.
City Clerk can receive them.
Thank you, members of the City Council, City Manager, and staff for the opportunity to speak before you tonight. I'm here tonight to bring your attention to a potential flooding concern that may impact our community, Meadow Lay on the River. As you know, we are directly impacted by the ongoing Rivington development as we are surrounded by them on three sides, not to mention that our elevation is significantly lower because it's lower, and on top of that, Rivington has raised their elevation, making the difference much higher. Here's the three specific concerns that we have. Number one, at the northwest corner of our community, which would be the corner of Palm and North Leisure World, there's a very large patch of wetlands that when you look at it from the Rivington side is much, much bigger than what it appears to be from the Meadow Lay side. It appears that much of the drainage from Rivington is actually headed towards that wetlands area, which is wrapping that whole corner of our area. There's even a place along a down path that goes into a gravel area because there's already been washout, and that gravel area is pointing directly to the wetlands. It looks as if the drainage has been directed to the rear of our community, affecting the owners who live on North Leisure World Drive. Our concern is, where is that water going? And can it eventually undermine the homes, causing serious damage and or possible sinkholes? I do have a picture of the drainage area. The gravel that I'm talking about, and I do have a picture of the path, but it's a significant downslope. You can't see it as well from the picture. Item number two, there's fencing along the back of Leisure World and a ditch that has been somewhat dug out. That runs from the northwest corner to the northeast corner of North Leisure World Drive. While there was always a fence installed as originally agreed, we never understood that the elevation on the Rivington side would be raised as much as it has been. There's a ditch that appears to have been dug, but if you look down a straight line at the ditch, it looks like a roller coaster, a serious roller coaster with huge divots. I don't understand how water can flow through when there's huge, divots like this. Now that the homes have been built, the people have moved in, and the fencing that has been allowed has been inconsistent and what might very well be problematic. Some people have put side fences all the way to the rear fence. Some people have put just a rear fence causing an aisleway between the ditches, and there's no way that area is accessible for maintenance or what have you. So what happens with overgrowth that we already have? And some people are actually trying to plant in the ditch and or clean the ditch to beautify the area in their open backyards, okay? And so it's all over the board.
Okay, I'm going to need you to wrap up your comments.
Okay.
Thank you.
The other thing is, and you have it all in my notes, the other thing is that from the ditch, there's a culvert at the ditch and there's a culvert at the pond. The culvert at the ditch is lower than the pond. Last I checked, water doesn't
Okay.
go uphill.
I need your comments to end now. I would really suggest that you and the city engineer go over all of these together, and that would be the appropriate avenue for you to get your concerns addressed.
That
So
is-
thank you very much.
I wanted, nobody returned my call.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right. The first item this evening is the approval of minutes. We have minutes from the regular City Council meeting, May 1, 2024, the City Council workshop, May 15, 2024, and the special City Council meeting, May 15, 2024.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the May 1st, 2024, the workshop for May 15th, 2024, and the special City Council meeting on May 15th, 2024.
Second.
Vice Mayor Butlin?
Yes.
Councilmember Papalardo?
Yes.
Councilmember Sell?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson?
Yes.
And I am a yes. Are there any additions, deletions, or amendments to the agenda? Hearing none, we move along to a wonderful thing that we have on our schedule this evening, and that is the presentations for the certificate of completion for those who have been part of DeBerry's Citizen Academy. So, Casey.
Hello, Council. My name is Casey, and I'm your Communications Manager. Today, I'm excited to introduce you to the Spring 2024 graduating class of Citizens Academy. This past session has marked 5 successful Citizens Academies, with this group totaling 102 graduates within our community. Some highlights from this class include a visit from Senator Scott's office, the Volusia Sheriff's Department, and Orange City Fire Department, along with each city department sharing everything that they do that contributes to making our city the best in the state. So before we begin the graduation ceremony, I'd like to introduce you to Rob Thies as he shares some of his experience at this past Citizens Academy.
Thanks, Casey. Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Council members, staff, thank you so much for the opportunity just to say a few words about my experience in this DeBerry Citizens Academy. I became involved with Gateway Center for the Arts last year and have subsequently been appointed to the board there. And in doing so, I became aware of the interaction between the city and Gateway and the importance of that relationship. But it also became apparent that I didn't know enough about what's going on in the city. And so our board chair, Richie Coloni, had suggested that I sign up for this Citizens Academy. Also, knowing Carmen from being a member of the DeBerry Golf and Country Club, he was also very positive in my ability to join this group. It's been a wonderful experience. I enjoyed knowing everything about all of the details of how the city works, the budget, the strong fiscal position that we have as a city, the great work that Carmen has done as the city manager, and getting to know individuals, knowing a little bit about the council members and the mayor and vice mayor as people. I could be up here an hour talking about all the things that we covered. All I can say is that it was a great experience, and I would highly recommend it to anybody who's interested in knowing more about the city and how it works. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for sharing that. And Brett Douglas is another Academy graduate, if you'd like to come up here and share a few words.
We have a very important guest here tonight with this wonderful young man that's always been reporting on all the stuff that we do in City of DeBerry. Thank you for always being there. Awesome. So I'm Brett Douglas, and I reside currently at 144 Coronado. I've been in the city for many years, Mahoney, since probably 1994. That's probably a monumental year. But we wanted to talk tonight real quick about how important it is for the Citizens Academy. And the first time I heard about this, it was an enlightening experience that we could, as an average citizen, kind of get involved and deep dive into the things that bring all the moving points into our city. So many people are so unaware of how many challenging pieces have to move at one time. It's like a beautiful clockwork. You know, you can have somebody who's blind who can create a working piece of craftsmanship because he knows his art. You know, he can take each little piece and make it work together in a symphony. And that's something that our city isn't able to do. We have so many incredible pieces. We have a city manager that takes responsibility and says, I'm going to make this happen. He responds with a mayor and a council that knows their obligations to him, to the city, and to the citizens, and they make things happen. What does it matter for the citizens? We have a lower tax base. We have all these wonderful things that we can be proud of as a city. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm talking about the Citizens Academy, that everybody who wants to yearn to understand what it is that we're doing, we can come here and spend 8 weeks with our fellow people, our peer group. It doesn't matter if you're an educated white-collar person, if you're a blue-collar laborer like myself. We're treated with respect, admiration, and that thirst for knowledge is met right here. It is wheels to the ground at the Citizens Academy. It's an amazing experience. I come before you tonight as a graduate of this new wonderful Citizens Academy of the Spring 2024, and I wanted to offer a graduation party. And I know that sometimes we can't grab groups of people together because of all these wonderful sunshine laws and this and politics. I would like to offer my house to a wonderful party where we don't worry about politics. We don't worry about anything. We talk about the weather at this party. We talk about how proud we are to be DeBarians. And so I have a group of these beautiful wine and cheese, handbills that my daughter, who is dual enrolled in college, produced for me. And I just wanted to come before y'all and say, somehow if we can make this work, that I'd like to introduce or welcome all of the graduates from this class to come, and every single person who spoke at these events that was a part of it, our city that we're so proud to listen to each and every one of you attentively. I'd like to offer you a chance to come for a wine and cheese event at my house, and let us just celebrate for a minute and just remember what it is to be DeBarians. We can live anywhere, but we chose to live right here in the city of DeBary and be special. Right now, we are a beautiful, small hamlet community. Even with the new growth that's on the horizon, the benefits of the things that are coming make us proud to be DeBarians. And I'd like to offer each and every one of y'all a chance in 2 weeks on the 22nd to come for a beautiful wine and cheese. We even bought all the charcuterie boards and all the porcelain to make it happen. So God bless y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So without further ado, I would like to start our graduation ceremony. Class of 2024, when your name gets called, just come on up here and stay up there because I'll take a picture of the group at the end.
Okay, AJ Hackshaw. We're going to shake hands, and then I'll give you congratulations. Yes. Allison Fish. Congratulations. Brett Douglas. Congratulations. Carrie Barth. Congratulations. Here.
Oh, you need your certificate?
Oh, yep. Chris Carson.
You're welcome.
Congratulations. Thank you. Deb Antonio.
Pleasure.
Debbie Dillard. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
Esther Encarnacion. Farrah Stark. Francis Talmadge. Congratulations. James Gentry. Congratulations. Jerry Ann Lovett. Congratulations. Jim Old. Congratulations.
Jim.
Kathy Rosado. Linda Clifton. Congratulations. Meredith Fordham Hughes. Congratulations. Rob Tees. Congratulations. Roxanne Little. Sheena Griffin. Congratulations. William Hughes. Congratulations, thank you. Congratulations to all of you. All right. Now, I don't want to cover up James Gentry here.
They can just, I'm going to scoot to the side. Yeah, if you guys could.
Pretend like we like each other.
Everybody turns 45 degrees and squeeze in.
There you go.
You got me, or should I go in front?
We actually have some people layer in front.
Yeah.
Who's short? Come in front. Step up. Step up. There you go.
Hide. I'd rather just hide.
You're tall.
Let's go in the
All right.
back.
No, you're good. That better?
Pretend like you just spent 8 weeks together.
Remember the love?
Look over at me really quick. 3, 2, 1. Thank you.
All right.
And if everyone could just stay here for 1 minute, real quick, one thing, the keys you got are keys to the city. Those are only given to Citizen Academy graduates, so you're the only ones. As Casey mentioned, the 100th graduate was in this class, and so we want to make a special presentation to what we're calling our 100th graduate. This is someone who has been to every class in the last 5 years.
That's me.
Well, she just ruined it.
Do I get a key?
We caved. We caved. You may have a key. I have it for you. This is yours.
So the vice mayor has come. She was so passionate about
Let's
this
hold it up for
class.
the picture.
I got my key.
But the rules are rules, and she wasn't allowed to have one. But we figured after 5 classes, attending every session.
See, they would have given me theirs.
Yeah.
And that's what actually, and that's what we've been hearing. Every time when I make the announcement in the beginning about the keys and this, everyone's like, oh, give her one. I mean, I've heard it for 5 classes. So we decided to finally give the vice.
Thank you for being I wouldn't have made the 100.
That's right.
So thank you, everyone, and thank you, council, for your support of this program always. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
And Brett, you're going to hand out the,
Invites.
I put them, yes, okay.
All right.
I'm sorry, I wanted to make one quick follow-up. First of all, I'm glad I didn't have to follow Brett because he was so eloquent. But I think both Sherry and Casey have done a wonderful job helping put this together and organizing this and keeping us in line. So I want to give a special thanks to those two for their help in this thing.
Okay. Well, that was the fun part, but we actually have business this evening. Item 4 on our agenda is the Parks and Recreation Department is requesting the City Council approve a grant application submitted by DeBerry Babe Ruth 6U Baseball All-Star Team.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Jason Scheitz, your Parks and Recreation Director. So this is just another one of our standard grant applications. The team is going into the upcoming All-Star tournaments, and they've met all the requirements, so we would recommend the approval. And this is actually our 4th grant of this fiscal year. So I know we asked that question last time. This is number 4. There's another one from another team that was submitted today you may see on the next agenda. And one other thing I wanted to mention, just a reminder that we are hosting the district tournament this year, and it starts tomorrow evening. So tomorrow night and Friday night, 5:30 till probably about 11, we have games, full slate, all fields at both facilities, Keller and Sullivan, and then all day Saturday, all day Sunday at Keller Park to wrap up that tournament. So we've been working hard the last few weeks to prep those facilities for the tournament. I think 20 plus teams will be in attendance. DeBerry does have the biggest representation. I believe we do have a team in just about every age group. And I'll be out there tomorrow night at both facilities, kind of back and forth to help kick things off. So we'll be have the full support staff all 4 days, and we'll be handling the facility side of things, and then the league will be running the tournament, and a lot of our teams will be playing in it. So I'd encourage you guys to pop in at some point and check it out.
Thank you. On this one, is there any discussion on the dais? Okay, I would entertain a motion.
Mayor, for the record, there is no public
There is no
participation.
public participation, yes. Thank you for pointing that out.
I make a motion to approve the grant application in the amount of $500 to the DeBerry Babe Ruth 6U Baseball All-Star Team.
Second?
Vice Mayor Butlin?
Yes.
Councilmember Sell?
Yes.
Councilmember Papalardo?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson?
Yes.
And I am a yes. Item number 5, the staff is requesting City Council feedback on expanding the city's Southeast Mixed-Use Area, SEMUA, Transit-Oriented Development, TOD, Overlay District.
Thank you very much. Good evening. Stephen Bapp, Growth Management Director. Today we're going to have a discussion on get your feedback on the expansion of the Transit-Oriented Design District. The first step would really be change the land use, and that's what we're going to discuss today. What the map would look like is currently on the screen. The map on the left is where the boundaries of the current future land use for this district are. The additions are the map on the right, which have the diagonal hatches running through them consistently of the same color. Most of this area would be focused to the northwest of the current district, extending up to Benson Junction, with the small 2-acre piece at Fort Florida Road in 1792. Now, if we look at the trends, what's happened in our TOD in this district, I want to really focus on the 2 major approved projects which added most of our residential units. The first is Tom Park and the second is Mosaic Main Street. Mosaic Main Street is in the core of the TOD, which would allow up to 32 dwelling units per acre. Based on their potential, they could have built really 630 units. And looking at the potential for Tom Park to the north, at 20 units per acre, they could have came in at 644. And what's been approved and what will be built or is under construction is a number around 629 plus or minus a few units. This is about 50% of the what they could have potentially built to of over 1,200 units. So that is kind of the trend. Even though the land use is there, the acreage is there, in reality, these units produced about 50% of their max capacity. So if we look at the TOD, we say, okay, we know we have Spring Walk, we know we have Integra, we know we have the retail around the Spring Walk and Integra. What's really left? If you're looking at the TOD, what's really left? We have the Sun Rail Station. I don't see that converting to any type of residential or commercial use. That should stay consistent probably for the next very long period of time. We also have some wooded land south of that Sunrail station owned by Florida Power and Light. We have about 12 acres of really undevelopable land. And we have a major chunk of the TOD, which is a 48-acre K-8 public school, which is predicted to go in to the very immediate southeast portion of the TOD. That alone, taken out of the overall density equation, takes out a potential of up to 960 units that would have been built on that parcel. Now, if we spread out from the TOD and extend north towards Benson Junction, what do we have? What are our existing uses that are in that area of our great city? Well, we have crushed concrete recycling, auto salvage yard, and asphalt recycling. We have a fairly underutilized FPL training site. And then we have some miscellaneous properties along Benson Junction. We also have Florida Public Utilities, which we don't really see ever developing. That'll be stationary, even though it's predicted to be, if we extend up to Benson Junction, to be in that umbrella. So if we really look at these, they're really quite incompatible with our vision and of the TOD. And the development there is really an unplanned, scattered pattern of uses. Now, if we look visually, what people would see once the TOD is in its current state and Main Street's developed, well, we have crushed concrete recycling, which would be across from some of our 36 live-work units. You know, our attorney's offices would be sitting there, and that would be their current view in perpetuity with the current land use. Also, we have our auto salvage yard. I think some of you may be familiar with that. It's kind of tucked behind a wooden fence. We have the asphalt recycling yard, which we really consider in two pieces. This is on the southwest corner of Benson Junction and Shaw Road. One is a large property, and another property right at the intersection is probably about 5 acres. If we look at the FPL training site, it's really very underutilized. It's reflected in the pictures. There are some inert high voltage towers which occasionally linemen practice on. I don't know when the last time FPL is physically trained there or not. Cannot confirm that. This is a repeat slide. Apologize for that. And then this is a kind of an illustration of what's on the south side of Benson Junction Road. The picture on the left is miscellaneous refilling stations for propane type activities, and the other one is part of the septic guy that has septic capabilities and structures. If we look at, okay, so let's say we keep the land use in those areas the same, some of those businesses go away, well, what could go in there? Well, with these industrial uses, we could have vehicle manufacturers, we could have machinery and machine shops, we could have pain management clinics by right. We could have another self-storage facility, a mini warehouse, we could have a vehicle storage, we can even have wholesale meat and produce distribution with meat cutting, but no butchering. So these are some, as you can see, pretty incompatible uses to what our vision for Main Street was. Now, what staff's proposed action would be, as I stated, would be extend the land use boundary north to Benson Junction Road and encompass the properties which are on the west side of Shaw Road. What we feel this will do, it'll have a clear, distinct separation between our mixed land uses south of Benson Junction Road and our established and existing industrial areas to the north of Benson Junction Road. It'll really ensure overall compatibility with our vision. It'll expand our walkability and expand our connected community we're building. It'll ensure and enhance the long-term success of businesses and the commercial environment along Shaw Road, the new Main Street, and will maintain the attractive social environment for residents and visitors to the area. We want to look at some infrastructure projects which are currently underway, which we feel will support this action. One which is underway, really will get rolling here in the near future, is the Benson Junction Road build. which includes physical road improvements, partial access cuts, and extending along Benson Junction Road, south on Shaw Road, and slightly somewhat north on Shaw Road as well. Also, there's a supporting, just on the north side of the previous picture is the stormwater management system, which will help alleviate will alleviate the flooding which you experienced over last year's 22 inches and 24-hour storm surge. So both those projects are underway, which would help enhance this proposed land use. Now, if we look at the proposed TOD expansion today and say, well, what land uses are really there? And this outlines the projects I mentioned earlier and their proximal location. The thing immediately to the DeBerry Town Park is the crush recycling, followed in the north by the car salvage, what we're calling Asphalt B, which is a large, more vacant type property where they store a bulk of their asphalt materials. Asphalt A on the southwest corner of Shell and Benson Junction. The Benson Junction properties, and then on the far, if we extend all the way up following 1792, we'd have the FPL training site, and then Florida Public Utilities, which is the gas utilities, which we see probably remaining in that state for probably 30 or more years. If we look at this, well, what are our options moving forward if we decide to adopt this in some form? Well, one would be include all the properties I mentioned. If we can kind of split that option into an option 1A and an option 1B. If we look at the 1A, and we build to the 20 units per acre, which are currently the land use outside the TOD core, these properties would generate about 852 units. If we go to refine that land use and break that category down to about 10 dwelling units per acre, creating a third type of TOD use, we would be looking at a potential 426. And that's if they built to the maximum 10 dwelling units per acre. Staff decided to exclude Asphalt A because it's really the shallow depth of that, as well as the properties along Benson Junction Road would be, I could say, physically not adaptable to residential dwelling. That's more of a commercial type lot. I would never see a multifamily or a townhouse development going in that shallow of an acre or parcel size. We also excluded the FPU training site or FPU utilities because that's a very fixed facility. As I stated, probably 30 to 50 years or more use, that would not generate any residential densities. Now, if we go to a second option and we exclude the larger parcel from extending the land use, which is Asphalt B, we would knock our numbers down at a 20 dwelling units per acre to 434 units. And then a theoretical new land use of 10 dwelling units per acre would generate 217 total maximum dwelling units. Now, option 3 generates the same numbers, but it excludes both the Asphalt B and the Asphalt A. It would reduce our total acreage in the expansion, but still generate approximately the same numbers. These are initial courses of action or options that the staff has came up with. Gladly entertain any input from the council assembled before us, and looking forward to hearing your input and your thoughts of this matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any public participation, City Clerk?
No, ma'am, there is not.
Okay, Councilmember Sell, questions and comments.
From 10,000 feet, this makes sense. What I'm not at all interested in is forcing anybody to sell their property so we can put more homes up and businesses. I prefer that it all happen organically. If somebody was to come with a bag of money and they want to sell their business as is, and we kind of narrow it down to what they can put back on that property, then okay. I don't want it to be a situation where somebody buys a $500,000 townhome and they look out their window and they decide that they don't like the salvage yard across the street. It's loud and it's noisy. I'm not at all interested in entertaining them. They know what they're buying currently. They know what they're looking out their window at currently. I'm not interested in them coming back to a council meeting crying about the salvage yard across the street. So I could see where if organically somebody came with a whole sack of money and wanted to buy that land down there and turn it into homes and businesses, then I'm sure that would make those residents happy. I understand that. I'm not sure where I stand right now on the different proposals that you guys have. You know, we're kind of cramming in homes again, and every little piece of property that we have around, now we're actually looking at, you know, swapping out the businesses that are there for more homes and some smaller businesses there. Not saying some of them wouldn't be needed or not, but I'm definitely interested in this. Again, it does make sense. All we're really discussing tonight is changing the zoning so that way if they do sell their property, then they're going to be limited on what they could put there, basically.
And that's correct.
Is the gist of what I'm getting.
That's the gist, yeah.
And this doesn't force anybody to leave. This is, and it's not we're not changing zoning, and this is the future land use. And they can certainly operate business there for another 100 years. And that's their prerogative. And so that's what's here. And no complaint from anybody will alter the future land use and force somebody out. Those things just are not happening there. Our primary focus, obviously, is the Main Street and making it successful. Also, the primary focus is that the potential of what these folks could sell to, that it's not compatible to Main Street. Some of these businesses there could sell to another asphalt plant if they want to, which would be right across from the Live Local units. And so what this does is restricts on that if they're going to sell to another user, then that user will need to be a commercial mixed-use developer and not a manufactured developer.
Could you correct yourself, though? That was not Live Local units.
I'm sorry, Live Work units. Long days, and that term is buried in my head, I'm sorry.
That was a whole other thing we would be throwing in the middle
Yeah,
here.
exactly. But it doesn't force anybody out. It's just a future land use designation that if they would to sell, they would sell to, that's not in the current use, then they would need to sell to somebody that's a commercial mixed-use developer.
Councilmember Papalardo, thoughts and comments?
So I have a couple brief comments, and I don't know if I have a question or not, but I think extending this makes sense. I'd like to see Shell be a complete continuance of the Main Street project, and that kind of influences my opinions on Asphalt A. I'd like to see that include the frontage portion of that to get all the way to Dirksen. However, Asphalt B, I feel like I'm not interested in that large of a parcel having that type of density. I also think that would almost be the next step, less density just based on its proximity to the center of Main Street. Something to forward to it. I don't want to get into that minute of details, but I'm thinking that is the next step down, is that for that Asphalt B. For the greater portion of this, I'd prefer slightly lesser density, more like 8 to an acre or 10. We're grasping at straws at that point. It's not that big a difference. The only reason why I was thinking 8 is because Town Park functional density is around 12. I didn't know if 10 was enough of a functional difference to really make that downtrending as we get further away. But again, I don't want to split hairs over 10 or 8 units per acre. But I think a big part of this is it's the TOD being extended to most of this area. We want to encourage the commercial district that we're going to be creating. We want to have that immediacy of a pool of consumers. it's going to be really important for business recruitment, and I think that's something that we really need to prioritize, and I think what you've put in front of us is a good step in that direction.
Councilmember Stevenson?
Sure, I'll start off with a question about this 2-acre glitch parcel. Looks like if you're heading east on Fort Florida Road, you cross 1792, and there's a 2-acre parcel there that was not included.
That's a 2.17 acres that we exchanged with DeBerry Town Center. It was currently conservation. Remember, we exchanged the conservation with Palm Drive?
Gotcha.
So that property was conservation and wasn't included in TOD. Now that it's going to the DeBerry Town Center, that it needs to be included into the TOD.
And you wouldn't necessarily expect that to have commercial on the ground and residential on top, or you would?
It would.
On the 2 acres?
Yeah, we would. It's a mixed-use development there, and we've already received some application requests for the property adjacent to that 2.17 acres.
That's correct.
And do we have the capability of reducing the density for that 2 acres to match with the other ones, or it's going to be closer to what is at the core by the
No,
train
it's a 20
station?
unit, 20 dwelling units per acre.
That would be 20
It would be
units.
outside of the core area. Right.
Okay.
And it's essential to establish, that piece of property is very essential to establish that 4-way intersection.
Yeah.
On the
Correct.
signalized intersection.
That's required by FDOT. And most of that 2.17 acres is actually road and trail.
Right.
And there's only a small little piece that connects to the out parcels next to it. That's going to be included it seems going to be included in this proposal that we've received. That includes the 2 or 3 more out parcels down Highway 1792 to the north. So it's a mixed use. All those out parcels, most of them are mixed use, where they could do a little bit of residential and commercial in that area there. The out parcels to the north are all commercial. That are further north of that. But that area at the 2.17 acres where the road curves to link that junction to Fort Florida Road, that little piece there that's included in 2.17 acres, and the 2 out parcels next to that are designated back in 2018 as mixed use.
Thank you. I would say that when I first approached this topic on the agenda, I was a little hesitant to be adding that much more residential, and I thought back to our discussions from the very beginning, and I wondered why these weren't really included in the first place. Is it just because they were already developed and they were mainly industrial and we just weren't sure?
I don't have an answer back in 2010 when they created the TOD why the rest of the properties weren't included. Main Street wasn't a vision back then. And so I don't know why they were not included.
I know that the visions kind of changed and adapted over the years. And so basically I took a drive down Shell Road today to, do my research and look at that corner there. And of course, they've already cleared a lot of the land where the townhomes are going to be. And you can see, how there's no transition. It goes from what we're expecting to be kind of downtown housing, residential, business, and then all of a sudden, bam, pretty heavy industrial use, and it doesn't really have the continuity. I think if we were to bring down the density, like Councilmember Papalardo said, so that it is a drop from the townhomes to the next zone before we're going into the Springview and the lighter industrial that's on the other side of Benson Junction. I think that having that intersection of Benson Junction as more of the barrier between the TOD and the rest of the town makes sense. Also looking at the parcel sizes, I mentioned this to the city manager earlier. With the corner parcels, you called it asphalt B, to not be so much housing, but to have commercial on those corners makes sense, because I'm concerned that far down Shell Road, it's not going to be as walkable as near the train station. And so lower density, and yes, if those property owners want to sell, that it doesn't go to a more intrusive industrial use. That would be my concern. You know, right now it is what it is. They can keep their business as long as they'd like to, but what we really don't want to see is for it to change to something that's going to be even more intrusive, as whether it's sounds or smells or the big trucks and traffic, which of course causes a safety hazard, wear and tear on the roads. So I think that this is worth considering, getting more citizen feedback about it, as well as far as what our requirements and theoretical maximum builds are. I think that you basically answered the questions about infrastructure earlier, that this seems like it would fit in with our infrastructure as we have it and as we have the improvements planned, more specifically on Benson Junction as well, because that road is a little rough right now.
The, if I may, Main Street along Shell, both developers will put in all the stormwater infrastructure all the way down Shell, and Shell will be improved. It'll be a paver street in front of those current developments. The part that we be building with Benson Junction will not be paver. That will be asphalt for right now until those other areas get converted over to mixed use. And then we'll grade that and then make those pavers too, all the way up to, that's our vision anyway, all the way up to Benson Junction. But that portion above the north of the paver roads from Town Park up to Benson Junction is part of the Benson Junction project. And so all the stormwater in that particular area will be completely updated to current standards. And the pumping station behind Salzman Plumbing will not only serve the current floodings that we're having, but we theoretically can bring water to there and pump it to the borough pit. We could transport any water in the entire area there to that particular pumping station and move it. So it does serve more than just that, and so it's a great benefit. We were trying to purchase some properties along Benson Junction, but the cost got too exorbitant, and it actually is just for a little bit more to put a pumping station that will serve the entire area. It just makes better sense, and so that's what we decided to do is to not purchase any and put any retention ponds there. We'll just, the whole road will drain right into that pumping station and move it out. So we feel that between all the improvements on Shell Road and Benson Junction Road, that particular corner there, all of that will be able to handle. If you go with a couple hundred townhomes or a couple hundred units, it will be able to handle that. Benson Junction will be curb and gutter. We'll have an 8-foot sidewalk, so that will connect to the trail at 1792 where the trails converge, and there'll be an 8-foot sidewalk all the way down, so pedestrian traffic will significantly improve, because Benson Junction don't have that now. Folks have to walk on the street or ride their bike on the street. And so that's including Shell Road. Shell Road would have sidewalks on both sides. So the transportation and the pedestrian traffic there will be significantly improved way before any of this comes into play, because again, this is a long term. This is not going to happen in a year or 2 years from now or 3 years from now. Once Main Street comes in, I think you'll see these properties already being marketed. I think ultimately their values will significantly increase, just like Main Street did when we assembled the properties together. It went up to $320,000 an acre. I think you're going to see the same thing, probably even go even higher when these particular this portion of Main Street gets developed. I think the prices will go even higher.
Thank you. That's all the questions I have.
Vice Mayor Butland.
Thank you, Mayor. I always consider this kind of stuff housekeeping. It's cleaning it up, making it better for now and for the future. I'm concerned that if we don't do all of it, option one, which includes all the properties, that 10 years from now, the new council is going to say, oh, well, we don't want that, we don't want that, and we don't want that. So I'm all for option one, but I agree that the density should be reduced. I don't mind the 10, I like the 8 even better, but definitely not the 20. So I would say nix the 20 units per acre, and however we can classify that would be the way to go in my world. But if we don't clean it up now and we leave A, B, C, D, and everything else off or in the middle, I think that's going to cause confusion later on. Well, they're allowed to do that. Why can't I do that? So if we clean it all the way up to Benson Junction, it makes it a whole entity of Main Street eventually. And hopefully they'll see our vision 20 years from now, hopefully. I don't know if I'll be alive by then. But they'll see our vision and go forward. The other question I had was first right of refusal. How does that work in these properties? If they were to sell to someone, can they call us first and say, hey, or does that not happen?
That generally
It doesn't happen, right?
doesn't happen.
No.
Okay.
That's when we did Main Street, we assembled the properties.
Right, yeah.
And we did an agreement to sell our properties together, and that's kind of how that occurred. There is an option for first right of refusal, and then you have to go to each developer or
I
each
think it's-
landowner
Okay.
and sign an agreement, but that would be, I don't think that's necessary in this case.
Okay. I was just questioning because, no, I think I like option one. If you're asking my opinion, option one, reduce the density and clean it up, and we're good to go as far as I can, we're ahead of the game as far as density in the Main Street, in the TOD area already.
Right.
So just going from that 400 to 200 will make that much more, we saved the city of DeBary.
Yep.
200 residents, sorry. But there's 200 less people coming, or units, I should say. Don't know how many people in each unit, but 200 units.
The 2.3 is the common.
2.3 is the common
that we
people
use.
in each unit, yeah. And I think the school is 2.579 or something like that, so go figure. That's it for me.
Okay. First of all, I just want to point out to the council, the 2010 council we always talk about? We weren't sure what they were doing. They entitled all these densities, and now we're working to try to make them something that makes sense for our city. This one is on us. This one is not us making a silk purse out of a sow's ear that we were handed. This one's on us. So I want us to make sure that we have thought through the infrastructure and traffic in particular, because what we have in the TOD, we have a lot of things that we don't really feel how it's going to feel when it's built out. Yes, we've reduced the density by 50%. But we have Rivington right outside, and that's 1,000, real. A real 1,000. And then we also have, I didn't see the Haven down the street, the one down the street, the apartments. That wasn't on this list for some reason, as being something that's still coming. But it's in the TOD. I'm talking about the TOD, because Rivington's outside the TOD, but it's right up against it. And we have about half of that built out. So how it feels day to day on the roads is you got about half of what's coming there. And we don't have the real world on what's coming in Main Street. I agree that the uses that are on these properties that we're looking at are incompatible with everything we have planned and built around. And something has to happen. And I think that I would tend towards the Vice Mayor's view that we aren't going to see the full build out for 3 or 4 years. I will not still be on this council. Depending on choices, Councilmember Stevenson might or might not be when this is built out and somebody begins to do things here. So there will be a good amount of time before this happens. But we need to think about that, what it is we're adding. On traffic, we are getting, if all these properties, so I think the Vice Mayor's right, whatever we do, everything needs to be covered. If somebody in the future wants to carve out a corner for a commercial stuff, they can come to the council can redefine it. I don't see an issue with that. So we need to do something because it's an incompatible area. What we are getting rid of is these things transfer to a new development of whatever shape or form from their current heavy industrial uses is. we lose all the dump trucks. So we have a net loss of traffic and wear and tear on the roads. We lose the dump trucks filled to the hilt with millings and scrap coming in, large recycling trucks. We lose that. That's on the plus side. If we can keep the density down, the cars and pickups that we would add there probably are roughly offset. But it's still going to be an area where there's a heavy traffic burden, because then all these other things that we have planned will be real, and there will be real people moving on the roads around there. It will be much more congested than it is today. I think that this is a step-down area from our current 20 to 10. I think that that's, in my opinion, it should be a step down to 10. Whatever a future council chooses to do to implement their vision for how you move from what we've developed into a compatible kind of area, I think we've given them the tools to do it without too much risk. There would be, I think, additional drainage through that system, through the pump on Benson Junction down to the Borough Pit to handle some of this load, and that will be another major capital project. So the other thing I'm looking at is, what are we encumbering future councils with as far as infrastructure? There may be some more road costs, because the current road, dump trucks don't complain about it. But north of where the townhouses are going in, that's going to have to be it's going to be a real road once we do it with the Benson Junction project. So I just want us to make sure that, because we are sitting on this part of this build out of our city in the same position that 2010 council was. And I'd like us to learn from how that unfolded. So I think it is pretty obvious to anybody that goes through there that this heavy industrial with a lot of aggregate kind of businesses right next to new residences and businesses is not compatible in the long term. So we are right to take this on. But standing in the position of the 2010 council for this piece, I feel more comfortable with the density at 10. And that would be my position on it.
Thank you.
So what we'll do in the future then is we do have a draft ordinance prepared. There will be 2 public hearings in order to enact this. The public will be able to input on this particular endeavor. Again, this is a long-term endeavor. This is not going to happen immediately. Some of those properties, for example, like Crush, I mean, you're talking 320,000 acres and a lot of money.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of prospectors in our office, boutique hotels and stuff like that want to look at possibly going there. So these are some of the things we want to make sure that the right choices when they sell get put there rather than the wrong ones. And the success of Main Street, in my opinion, if the wrong thing goes in there, then it puts everything that we've done in jeopardy, in my opinion. Anything that destroys the social part of it, or the aesthetic part of it, or the functionality part of it, hurts those businesses down there that will go down there. And that's one of the things we're really concerned about. And so, and then the consistency part, that when you cross Benson Junction coming down Shell, which a lot of golf carts will be coming down that direction, it would be consistent from that corner all the way in, with 2 sidewalks, paver streets, and hopefully, lighter commercial as you get closer to the center rail. It'll be a little more heavier commercial as you get closer to the center rail. But I think it'd be, in my opinion, I think it would be a good dividing line. Benson Junction would be a good dividing line between this particular use long term, and you'll have some compatibility in our land planning there that will allow movement and will allow both multimodal movement in a safe and effective manner. So, and we'll put that ordinance together. We'll bring it back at the appropriate time. We're heading into budget season. And so we'll bring it back, and we'll have 2 public hearings on the best direction. But what I'm hearing is that we want to kind of do it all, and if we can get the density down to 8 or 10, then that seems to be the best size for the future use going forward.
Councilmember Sell.
So being realistic, is a developer going to be interested in the property if it goes from 20 to 10 with a cap on 10? Is the
Well-
property going to still be valuable to them?
Sure it will, absolutely. The commercial, now remember, we have Main Street regulations that requires commercial along Shell all the way from Florida Road to Benson Junction. So that's the first part of it. One of the proposals we got around the 2.17 acres is only 71 units and a whole lot of commercial. And so you're going to see a lot more commercial coming in than you are going to see residential. As the commercial starts picking up, we have enough residential generally in the area. You're going to see the commercial start popping up pretty quickly.
Thanks.
Okay, do you feel you have the consensus direction?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. Thank you for your input.
So we're moving on to member reports. Councilmember Sell, anything to report?
I don't want to steal anybody's thunder, but I spent the entire last week following Carmen around and holding trophies for him. One time, I'll congratulate him. I do think he's doing a wonderful job, and we are trying our best to keep the growth to a minimum, but it's very difficult, so that's all I got.
Councilmember Papalardo.
I attended a Volusia League of Cities dinner where Carmen got some recognition there. Good work, and happy early Father's Day.
Councilmember Stevenson.
I'll echo the congratulations for our city manager and the award, and that's all I have to report. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Butlin.
Okay. I have the same accolades. I can't be more proud of the city. And I know we just graduated the 5th class from the academy, but everywhere we go, whether it's Volusia, Florida State, everyone now knows DeBarry. And it's an awesome, when I introduced myself, Phyllis Butlin, the Vice Mayor at City of DeBarry, more than you imagined. They're like, oh my God, I love that tagline. That's great. How did you think of that? I said, well, we have a staff. We have, the communications department. They put all this together.
You don't go with the vision in the night?
No. Oh, I don't have that kind of talent. I'm talented, but not that much. So it makes me very proud to have Carmen as part of us. He not only won Volusia League Manager of the Year, but he won Florida State City Manager, against city managers and county managers. So we can't be more proud. I got goosebumps. I can't be more proud of the city and everything that Carmen does, our staff. It's just very humbling to be a part of this. And I really do love our city. So he won those 2 awards, and I'm not going to even go on anything else, but congratulations, Carmen. I know Shari also spoke at the Q Breakfast on Main Street, DeBarry. So the Volusia County is all aware of what's going on in DeBarry, and I just think it's a oozy feeling, so I think it's great. On a sad note, the traffic light at Fort Florida needs to be changed. The road is closed. And that road needs to be changed.
You have to be able to get in and out of Sunrail. And you have to be able to come off a Shell and get out.
I'll respond. FDOT will be out there tomorrow morning.
Okay, I was going to say, because if they did it already, we have a problem. I didn't know they.
They'll be out tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it must have been 24 cars queued across the tracks, It was a mess. So I'm glad that they're going to be out there tomorrow. Hopefully that'll help.
Yes.
That's it for me.
And I will add my congratulations to Carmen, not that I wasn't at both award ceremonies to give him the congratulations on the spot. It was good to have him recognized as the executive for the county by the Volusia League of Cities, and then the Florida County and City Managers Association recognized him as executive, that would be county and city, for the state. And so those were wonderful accolades, and I think reflect the achievements that he's had here in the first 5 years of his tenure. And the strides that the city has made, in which, as he points out sometimes, all of us have had a piece in that. Because when he gets accolades, he shares them with us. When we get accolades, we certainly share them with staff and with Carmen as their head and chief operating officer. So there were other sorts of meetings and things like that, but those are my comments for this evening. City Manager.
Two things, Mayor. The awards, you know, even though they're in my name, I share them with you. It takes, and as I told a lot of folks that, and even in my posts on Facebook, thanking everybody for their compliments, it takes a team to do this. Everything that we've accomplished the last 5 years, you can't do without a good city manager, and a good city manager can't do it without a good council. And so that unity, everybody heading in the same direction. I gave an interview to Jim Cameron. You can watch on that. I talked about that specifically, is that this the unity, that's what accomplished. We're aligned from top to bottom in our organization. Everybody's heading in the same direction, and when that happens, you can do remarkable things. And so we've done remarkable things. It takes a team. So those awards are just as much as yours as they are mine. So I want to say that for sure and say that publicly. Just a quick update on our stormwater, because I know we entered into hurricane season, and our invocation even talked about hurricane season.
I'm praying those forecasts are false. We can claim that, you know.
But our second pump, our second pump at DeBerry Plantation Station is now in. They both work excellent. Just want to make sure I get the number right. And they were fully operable, running about 7,200 gallons per minute. So that's how much water we can move there. We replaced the second pump at Quail Lake. That was under my authority, and went ahead and did that. And then the repair at Bill Keller Park for the second pump, we went ahead and did that. So now we're fully operable on all our stations, and we're ready to go. So just want to give you a little update on the stormwater stuff, so that let everybody know that we've done our due diligence in the off season, and we're ready to go. We still got a little bit more to do. We got some drain vents to clean, and we've got some ditches to clear out before the season gets into full swing. But other than that, we're in good shape. So thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everybody. Mm-hmm.
City Attorney.
Just congratulations to Carmen. He well deserves it. I've worked with a lot of city managers, and he is stellar, no question about it.
Thank you. Hearing no additional business, we stand adjourned.